Hello and welcome to BlockOne Productions. My name is Soma and I am with Glitch, the Husky. This video is a compilation of some news or topics that are way too short for a video on their own. Today we will talk about my patches on Patchstorage, my experience with Linux so far, and two new modules that I find really inspiring. So first off, I want to remind you that I have a Patchstorage, and that's where I upload some of my patches. The other day I uploaded a new version of my color palettes for Cable Color Key by Inklen. This new version includes a fourth color palette inspired by the amazing Nord palette. They are also standardized to my workflow, with key mappings for clock, gate, voxglitch modulation, audio, background and others. Last week I also uploaded version 1.8 of my O-Control Recreation. Remember that I have an LFO version and a clock version. The LFO version is more similar to the physical one, and the clock version offers more control. I am working on a version that offers the best of both worlds, but for the time being, enjoy them both and tell me which one is your favorite. The other day I saw in my YouTube feed that Moog has released a digital version of their Moogerfoogers, which is really a surprise and I hope people enjoy them. They sound amazing in the videos I have watched. I haven't been able to try them myself and compare them to my VCV versions. If you had a chance to try them both, leave a comment and tell me how the two versions compare and if there is anything I can do to improve mine. If you follow my channel, you probably noticed a video called Linux and VCV Rack. I'm a huge fan of open source software and I have been using Linux for years, just not for music. But ever since my old Mac gave up, I had to find alternatives. For the past year or so, I have been using different Linux distros, like Linux Mint, Pop OS, and I had to return very briefly to Windows, but now I am using Manjaro. And I must say that I am really surprised at the stability and compatibility of operating systems. For this channel I use VCV Rack and it runs without any problems at all. I may even say that it runs faster than a Windows machine with the same specs. The process to add it to the dock and the application folder was a little bit harder than I would like, but nothing that can be handled. I also use Project M, OBS and Shotcut to produce visuals, record and edit my videos. And I have nothing but positive experiences using these programs. So if you are thinking about trying Linux, I suggest giving Manjaro a chance. You might be surprised. Speaking of Project M, which is based on the amazing visualizer in Winamp called Mildrop, there are two new modules by RPJ called LFM Full and Embedded. LFM stands for Low Fat Milk, and they both are an implementation of Project M inside of VCV Rack. I already love them both and I think you will be seeing them quite often in my videos. They can load any percent that Project M can, and they are located in this folder, in case you want to change the list or the order. Amazing modules, and I hope we can see more visual modules in the future. Lastly, I want to talk about one of my favorite brands in VCV Rack, voxglitch. A few weeks ago, the amazing Bretruchen, better known in the community as Clone45, released Autobreak Studio, an amazing sample chopper that is perfect for breakbeat. I had the opportunity to talk with him a few months back and he showed me a prototype and I was so eager to try it. It is even more amazing than what I had imagined. First of all, I want to highlight the new design. I think it looks great. Let's see the inputs and outputs. Autobreak Studio has a clock input, a reset input, and a ratchet input at the top. Clock and reset are pretty self-explanatory, so let's talk about ratchet input. It basically will reset the slice of the sample, and it accepts trigger inputs. You can use a clock, some sequencer, or even a manual button. Autobreak Studio also has 16 memory banks to choose from and 8 slots for your favorite samples. You can cycle through these banks using a sequencer, or a manual knob, or even an LFO. Each bank has a position, sample, volume, pan, reverse, and ratchet selector, so you can have lots of variation. On the top I have one of my favorite functions. Autobreak Studio has EV inputs and outputs for each value, so you can control them using other modules, and you can also output a CV value, so you can use it similarly to a sequencer. Really interesting stuff. The last thing I want to show you are these individual outputs. There are 8 stereo outputs, one for each sample, so you can process them separately if that's what you need. Autobreak Studio is a great module, especially if you create breakbeat, glitch, and maybe ambient music. I have lots of ideas for it. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Follow me on social networks and join my Discord.